So, during the holidays, Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's, I've gotten into a bit of a rut recently. I've been playing a lot of video games, I've been struggling with porn again, and eating a lot of junk food. And in this video, I realized that it's very important, especially for like young self improvement people, to really know how to escape a rut because a rut is something that everybody's going to experience in their, self-improvement journey. And if you don't have the right tools to escape a rut, it can become a very impactful and hurtful rut instead of one that's just like, yeah, that happened. And by the way, I know I didn't explain this, but a rut is that time when you're kind of down, you don't really want to do a lot of the habits that you're supposed to do. Maybe you're eating a lot of junk food. Maybe you've gotten to watching porn again. You can't seem to stop. Things like that, where you're doing bad habits and you're losing a lot of those good habits that keep you out of it. And it can really, hurt progress. It can send you backward if you stay on it too long. And it is really, especially for young self-improvement people who are very new to it, it is hard to get out of one because they don't know the tricks, they don't know the skills of how to get out of it. So that's why I'm here today. And the first thing starts with acknowledging that you are in fact in a rut. Right now, if you're watching this video, maybe you've gotten into one, you saw this and you wanted help out, even if you didn't really know it. But the first step is acknowledging, yeah, I was much better like a week ago. And that is really all the most important part because I know a lot of people who have just said, oh, nothing's changed. I'm still just as good as ever when they really like regressed a lot. And they end up hurting themselves even more just by not acknowledging the fact that it regressed. So I really try to figure out, oh yeah, I need to change something quick because I've been in this for 3 weeks or a week now, and every day I've been fapping and eating junk food, and that is not a way to live. So if you're watching this video, it's good on you. But the second thing to do is to grab one second, your trusty journal, Having this is very important because you can write down all of your problems in here. You can like I've maybe you started watching porn again, eating junk food, and you figured out the reason is that you are so stimulated by the holidays and your habit was broken, you're off on break, and you have your habit of school has been broken. So right now, obviously, I'm going online, but now you're stuck in a rut. You really haven't done a lot report, so you can figure out what the problems are. And realize that the habit has been broken, and that all the stimulation coming around because you don't have to go to school and work for 7 hours is kind of leading to do these bad things. So just writing down like what has happened is very important because it allows you to take a back seat and really look at the journal and think, okay, so what is the reason for this? And I find it very important to do this because it makes it so much easier and quicker to realize problems in your everyday life and say, this is what I need to fix. How do I do it? And when you identify the rut, I mean, that's just pretty much the second most important part to all this. Because one, you need to acknowledge that you are in it. Otherwise, you're never going to do this step. But if you identify it, if you can't identify it, how are you supposed to know what to do? So by identifying the rut, I know that because I am in the holidays, I'm not in school right now, and my habits have been broken into something much different. I can understand that I need to make a conscious effort to realize this is not my old, you know, routine. And I need to know that That does not mean I should be doing all these bad things just because it's not my old routine. I need to realize that I need to stay consistent no matter what my routine looks like. And, just by writing it down, I've put the thought in my mind that I know this isn't my routine, but I need to make sure that I'm staying as consistent and as good as possible while on it. So doing this is very important, but also you need to take it slowly. Like if you've been eating mountains of junk food again, how are you going to expect to go completely cold turkey, You need to kind of lay it off a little bit, Every day decrease the junk food, added more healthy food a little bit each day, and then eventually you will get back to that state where you don't have to really think about eating junk food. You don't really want to eat a ton of junk food. It's just there like, yeah, this is my diet now. And, I have a whole video on how to gradually get back into things and um, why doing things like, trying to go cold turkey or trying to shoot straight forward will end up leading you back because even though you might do it for a couple days, so I think that might do it, you will eventually be broken again because your body is not used to doing all that. And you will end up going back to what you used to be doing, eating the mountains of junk food. And instead of slowly taking it off, maybe taking off like 100 calories of junk food a day over maybe 10 days, you completely went cold turkey. And now maybe you did it for 7, but then those next 3 days you've eaten all the junk food back anyways. So I've made a video on how to do that correctly and how to get back into things you haven't been doing in a while correctly. So if you want to do that, I'll put a card up right here. So go watch that. It's actually a very good video and I found it very helpful. Even while recording it, I knew that it was going to be a good video. So go watch that one. I think that's actually my most viewed video as well. So good for me. Anyways, so after all that, I really think that you should write down what happened during the rut because I found it is so helpful while I'm in a rut. I'm down on my feelings. I feel like maybe I can't escape it this time or I'm going to ruin my self improvement. I love to go back in this journal and see all of the other times I've written about getting into ruts and realize that, you know, I've done this before. This is something where I know I've done it before and I know I can get out of it. And that is so comforting to me to know, well, I feel like this right now, but I've seen all the other times that I've been in ruts that I feel like I can't escape them. And I escaped them. Now I'm here doing the same thing. So why would I do that? So while in it, write down your emotions, write down your feelings, write down what has went wrong in your journal. Because one, it will help you identify the problem. But two, it also becomes very comforting to know this isn't the first time this happened. It won't be the last time it's happened. But you've escaped so many already. This one is not going to be any different than those. It's not going to be a big deal for you. So this journal, very, very important when it comes to ruts because of all that just writing a few words does to you. I mean, it's the same idea with gratitude journaling. Like, I have pages upon pages of gratitude in this book. Like, all of these pages are filled up with words of gratitude. And, I love to go back and read them and think of all of the great things people have done for me. It's the same thing with getting into a rut. I want to go back and read it and think, see all the times that I've been down on my feelings. I feel like I can't escape it. And now I'm here, I'm better than I was there. I'm better than I was ever. And I can feel like, this is something that I could very easily escape again because it's not the first time it's happened. And I know that each time I push through it, I end up becoming better for it. So this journal very important to being in a rut, but also making sure you know yourself, you know what you can do, and you know how to take getting back into doing those good habits very slowly so you don't end up falling back because you didn't make the proper precautions. Just like someone climbing up a big boulder, like I want you to hook up your harness each time you're climbing that wall. So even if you do slip, that harness catches you and you don't go down too far. Instead of someone who tries to just rush through it, doesn't put on his harness, just starts climbing the wall. He might get ahead of you, but if he slips, he's falling all the way back down to the bottom. And I know that's a weird analogy, but that's how I think of it, you know? Putting on each harness might make you a little bit slower than this guy who's climbing up here, but if he slips, he falls all the way back down and you're still climbing up. And maybe you slip, but the harness catches you. So your progress will go down a little bit, but then you can keep climbing from there. Meanwhile, he's still down here. So I know it's a weird analogy, but if you can just try and understand it, actually helped me out a lot with, when I wanted to rush back into eating healthy or something without realizing what I need to do to make sure that I don't fall back into eating 5,000 calories a day. So just think of that. But, we have this journal, we have all those methods, but the only real way you're going to get out of a rut is by doing the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. I'll see you guys next time.